Hi, my name's Amanda Moore, and I'm the founder of Appendicure, and I am here with Connie Zickler in Washington State. Connie, welcome. Connie was diagnosed with appendix cancer back in 2021 after experiencing some abdominal discomfort and some a potential, well, a misdiagnosis. Connie, welcome. And let me turn it over to you to introduce yourself and tell us kind of how you got here.
Okay. I'm Connie Zickler. I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I was diagnosed, like you said, with appendiceal cancer in 2021, but my pain started back in 2016. But we did ultrasounds and blood tests, and we couldn't find anything wrong. And so I had found that if I had quit eating gluten for some reason, I guess because it's around my stomach, it made it better. It made the pain go away for a while. And then in 2018, noticed a pooch. My stomach was feeling weird,
Mhm.
and I went into the gynecologist. They did an ultrasound, and I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. They hadn't done a biopsy, but they seemed pretty sure. So they sent me to a surgical oncologist at Seattle University. And I had my surgery in the summer of 2018. It was an oophorectomy. It was everything from my cervix to my ovaries, everything. And when I woke up, he said, "Good news, you don't have cancer. You have these weird fatty deposits." But I tested them and none of them showed cancer. So I went home thinking that I just had these weird little fatty deposits.
Did they
And
ever call them anything like sugar coating? Have you heard that phrase?
no, they didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I read recently. Sorry, I digress.
It's interesting. I hadn't heard that. Yeah. He let's see, where was I? He went 2021. I started having a lot of abdominal pain and I went to urgent care. I thought I had kidney stones or something. And he said, "Well, your symptoms are really weird. So let's do a CT scan and make sure we know what we're looking at." And I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer again. He said, "Well, obviously he got it wrong. The surgical oncologist got it wrong, and he just missed it. So now it's back."
Mm.
And he was such a nice guy. I mean, he even called me that night to make sure I was okay at home.
Wow.
It's just a really nice guy. So they sent me back to the oncologist at the University of Washington, who was like, "This is really weird. Let's do some biopsies." I had about three biopsies where they, stick a needle through your abdomen wall into the tumor.
Mhm.
It sounds horrible, but it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Um, and all of them came up negative. He was like, if it was okay, ovarian cancer, it would show up.
Right.
And that took about 3 months because you know how slow appointments can be and everything.
Yeah, and that's like time is ticking in my mind.
Right,
Mhm.
right. And all this time you're so tense and nervous, and it's such a hard time.
Waiting is the worst.
It really can be. Yeah. I feel like this has been going on long enough. I'm doing better with the waiting part. I'm
You kind of you have no choice but to get
right.
into it. So.
It's true. So, uh we did another CT scan because the 3 months had come around and it had spread, obviously, and I was getting scalloped edges around my liver.
Mm.
So he had been talking to the tumor board at the University of Washington, and they just couldn't figure it out. So he called Fred Hutch and the talked to a specialist there, and he knew pretty much over the phone what it was. He said, "This is classic appendiceal cancer."
That's surprising to me though that the tumor board at a major university in a major city in our country did not know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not just
I
one
mean,
doctor, a tumor board.
right. Yeah, it was really surprising. And he's an instructor. And so, I mean, my mom got really upset about it, and I was like, well, I bet you it will never happen again. I bet you he'll never open anybody up and see fatty deposits and not
You're
take
right.
out the
I
appendix.
mean, you're right. And they should give you a plaque.
Well, I was hoping that since he's an instructor, that he's teaching all of his other
Yeah.
students this too. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Right. Yes. It need education across lots of different disciplines of medical professionals needs to happen. We're talking the ER, general surgeons, GI doctors, gynecologists. I mean, you're
everywhere I go, I I tell my story. I tell my story to the nurses when I have to go into the hospital. I want everybody to know what the symptoms are and stuff. Somewhere, if someone comes in, especially now that it's on the rise, so many more people are getting it.
I have to tell you this quickly that our GI doctor, David's cancer was found during a colonoscopy by luck because there's no test for it. We all know that. But it was luckily found, and our GI knew nothing about it. But after I educated him, and really every time we went to see him, which was a lot because David has to have a lot of colonoscopies with his subtype. But like they've now submitted a paper. He has a young doctor that works underneath him who's submitted a case study on David's very specific, unique use case, like or case study or whatever you call it.
Right. That's
So
amazing,
that's
right?
one person, and I need to do more. But like that is. So I'm so glad that you're sharing your story, and I'm so glad you share it with everyone. People I know get tired of hearing me talk about it, but I will not stop. So.
Right. No, I think it's our responsibility because who else is going to do it?
Right. Yeah. And we all have kids and grandkids, and it's quadrupled in Gen X and millennials. I mean, David's a good example of that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back
Yeah.
to you. Sorry.
No, no problem. I like the tangents. I just have to remember where I was.
Yes, I know.
Um,
Well, you were right at the end of the surgery. No, the second diagnosis of ovarian cancer.
oh, right.
Yes, yes.
And he came in and he said that, and then right. Okay.
And then Fred
So
Hutch, Fred Hutch.
he called Fred Hutch, and I went in to see the oncologist or the surgical oncologist there. And he said, well, we're going to do a um, a laparoscopy. Is that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and take pictures and snag your appendix if we can, so we can find out for sure if this is what it's looking like. So they did that, and it was what he thought it was. It was low grade.
And did they take the appendix out at that time?
Yeah, he said it was really mangled, but they were able to get it, and that's how they found enough cancer cells to diagnose it was in my actual appendix. So we scheduled the surgery, and I went in the beginning of December of 2021 and did my first HIPEC.
Was it
He
a
said he was able to get everything except for what was on my stomach.
Mhm.
So
What was the, did they give you a grade or whatever?
he said he thinks he got like 98% or something. There was just a little bit left. He knew that my quality of life could go down. I'd been in surgery for 16 hours.
Yeah.
So he really didn't want to cut into my stomach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that. And I had 2.5 years where it seemed to be stable. And then I got the CT scan in 2024 that said it was starting to spread again, and he gave me the choice. He said, we can watch and wait, we can do another surgery, or we can do chemotherapy. And so I took about 2 weeks to really think about what I wanted and decided to go ahead and do the surgery. I asked him if he thought he could get it all, and he said no. He said if they couldn't get it all the first time, he doubted he'd be able to this time. So I went in for my second HIPEC in 2024, and he said he got about 85 to 90% of it, but he couldn't get the one down and because he didn't want to take out my small intestines.
Right.
So, um, let's see. So we thought we were going to be fine for a few years at least. But 6 months later, my tumor markers were going up. I was feeling uncomfortable. We took a CT scan and he sent me to a regular oncologist who was not an appendix specialist. But when I had had my second HIPEC, I had joined the Travera study
Mhm.
where they collect live tumors from surgeries. And it was really cool because the doctor brought out the tumor in the middle of the surgery. Paul took the tumor and FedExed it to the study board so that they could test different chemotherapies on it to see if anything would work.
Was it
And
like frozen? Like, was it a cold thing or just a really?
it, right, I guess the cells can live for a little while. Was it cold, Paul?
Well, it was inside a box that was cold inside. Yeah,
I guess it was cold.
but
That's
not like
wonderful that you guys were participated in that study. And that's just real quick to digress one more time. But I mean, that's something people don't know about, right? Like when they are having surgery, do not let them throw your tissue out. There are tons of organizations that are, it's like a repository basically where they will keep that tissue forever. Pattern.org is one of them. They're on my website, but it's free. You don't have to, you're not charged for it. And that way your tissue, these tests are changing every year. I mean, they're getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And like, I wish I had known because David's tissue was thrown out in 6 weeks. I mean, thank goodness I got the ctDNA, but I'm not going to get the souped up ctDNA because my tissue is
Right.
no longer available. Or his tissue, not my tissue. Sorry. I feel like it's
Yeah.
mine. I feel like it was my appendix. So,
Yeah, there's so much that we have to stay on top of. It looking into studies and stuff is how I calm myself down.
it's
Like
something you
making a
can
plan.
control, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it makes me feel, even though I'm not in control, it gives me a sense of control.
Same. That's
Yeah.
exactly how I feel about the research and the things. So, yeah. But I'm not
So while
totally
we're
crazy.
mentioning studies, there's also the GAP study that's
Hmm.
trying to, so
It's at Vanderbilt,
yeah.
and David's enrolled in that one too. Yeah, that's a great study. Are they? Last I heard on that study, though, they weren't taking like relative applications. Like they wanted like David's mom and David's sisters and all the people. But um, do you know?
Well, I did mine in 2021. I joined in 2021. So um, I sent in my sample, and then they sent uh, a kit for my parents to do samples. And I think that that's all they did.
Yeah, you know what? So we were later. So we were 24, and we definitely did it in 24, but we got a notice back. We sent in David's sample, and then we got a notice back saying they didn't have the staff to take siblings' samples at that point. But that could have just been a certain period of time. I'll follow up on that one too, and
It
I'll
could have
edit all
been.
this out since like nobody wants to. Well, maybe they
Yeah,
can. Yeah.
it's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So back to I went to the regular oncologist. She's not an appendiceal, a specialist, which I really encourage people to go to an appendix specialist. But when I went in to see her the first time, she was trying to dissuade me from chemotherapy, but because I had done Travera and it had shown that irinotecan was effective on my tumor,
Hmm.
I wanted to at least try it.
Right.
So that, and because honestly, my sister had a cancer in her mouth on her tongue,
Hmm.
and chemotherapy wasn't supposed to help with that.
Hmm.
And she did between chemotherapy and radiation, she never had to have a surgery, and it had already spread to her lymph nodes.
Wow.
So, I mean, the doctor just out and out told her she was a miracle. So, because
Wow.
of those two things, I wanted to try. But when we went in and discussed chemotherapy, I also said that I wanted to try palbociclib or Ibrance
Hmm.
because I brought in the study from UCSD and said I want to try this, and she said it's a really small study and I'm not sure about it. And I said I want to try it. If the chemotherapy doesn't work, I would like to try it. So we tried the chemotherapy and it seemed to work at first. For like 3 or 4 months, it seemed to stabilize the cancer and then it stopped. And I remember getting a call from her and she said, well, it's spreading, but I'm I wrote a prescription for palbociclib and your insurance covered it.
Okay, so
So
let
you'll
me stop.
start in 2 weeks.
So let me stop you right there because that is a miracle in and of itself. So many people want to be put on one of these CDK4 inhibitors, and insurance is denying them.
Yeah,
How in the world did that happen?
I know. She even asked me, she said, why do you think they covered it? And Paul and I had discussed it, and we thought maybe it was because chemotherapy was so expensive that they were like, yeah, this is less expensive. Let's do that. But I didn't know that it was like $19,000 a dose. So she didn't think that that was what it was. We still don't really know what the reasoning is why my insurance covered it and others wouldn't.
Hmm. And who is your insurance provider?
M Molina,
Melina.
Molina Marketplace.
Well,
Yeah.
I do know that sometimes when people are covered by things from the same insurer, but others aren't, that can be a case. So um, that's kind of why I asked that question.
I also know that my doctor is really good at getting these approved. I've had several of the practitioners tell me, yeah, she's really good at this, getting things like this approved. So it may be just the way she writes this, or it may be because she's so well known, because she's on the NCCN board. It could be any of those things, but the fact that she didn't really know how, I just figure it's kind of a miracle.
Yeah. Well, tell us about it. When did you start it? How soon did you see results? What were your results? All the things.
So I started it actually almost exactly a year ago in July of last year. And I had been having symptoms. My stomach was pooching again. When I lifted my left leg, I could actually feel the tumor in there. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it was weird. It happens kind of slowly, so you don't really notice it unless you're actually paying attention to the symptoms. And since then, I've really started tracking my symptoms, if not writing it down all the time, at least I
Right.
measure my waist to make sure that I'm not pooching. I lift my leg and check,
Because sometimes you don't notice it. Like if I gain 5 pounds, I don't necessarily notice it until I'm at 10 pounds. And then I'm like, shoot, now I've got to go on a diet. If I had caught it at 5 pounds, I probably could have just walked it off. um, I try to
Right.
understand these things in just regular life. But yeah, I mean, if you can just describe that a little bit more, because I think, we've talked about this before, Connie. Like, it's not just let's measure your markers, let's do the CT scans, let's do all the blood work, but let's also talk to our patients and understand how they're feeling. And sometimes, like, I don't know how I'm feeling, so these things I think are important to cover.
They base about a third on on how you're feeling, on your symptoms. And so every time I go in, they ask me about my symptoms, what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. Um, so a third is the CT scan, a third is the tumor markers, and a third is how I'm feeling. And because none of it is really super accurate, unfortunately. And I think that
Yeah,
they're trying to find a better way to track it. So that's
that's what
good.
I hear from all of them. So I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So my tumor markers had shot up and I wasn't following my tumor markers because it made me nervous. But they had shot up to 1700 my CA19, which is,
High, high, high,
for
high.
low grade, it's insane.
Yeah,
But as soon as I started the Ibrance, it started coming down immediately. It went from it would jump by 600 points down, which is crazy.
that's
I
so
mean,
fast.
it was really fast. And I even remember getting a call from one of the practitioners telling me how much it had dropped by. And he was so excited. They're just,
That's yeah. Well, it's like magic,
right.
right?
It did feel like magic.
Yeah.
At one point around Christmas time, my numbers started going up again. And so we were talking about switching over to different medications. I had joined the TRAC study and they were testing my tumors. They're the ones that found the mutations. They sent it to the mutation, they sent it to a rare cancer board and they made suggestions. The suggestions were uh, palbociclib, Avastin, Tecentriq, and an MEK inhibitor, and that I do them all at the same time,
Wow.
but lower doses.
Hmm.
And of course, my doctor was like, palbociclib seems to be working for you right now, so let's just say that if palbociclib quits working, we'll do Avastin and Tecentriq. And that sounded good to me. And we didn't really think the insurance company would cover it anyway. So, but because I had done that, we had another plan of action after the palbociclib quit working. She also said that sometimes if you take a break from the Ibrance, it will start working again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that to a non-medical person, logic and reason makes sense, right?
Right.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Sometimes things do just make sense.
Yeah. So around to go back to back in December, my numbers were going up and my CT scan showed a little bit of increase in my fluid in my stomach. And she said, well, go ahead and continue to take Ibrance. Enjoy your Christmas. We'll switch you over in January. And I came in January and my markers had all dropped again. Everything had dropped down again. So we thought, well, it could have been inflammation, could have been a lot of different things.
Right.
Um, so let's see, in March, I had another CT scan and it showed that they call it stable, but if you actually look at the measurements of my tumors are smaller. And my doctor came in, she's just like, I don't think you realize how amazing this is. She said, I just, there's no reason for this. There, so she was just flummoxed. But I was, of course, really excited and really happy. My tumor markers were down to my CA19 was down to the 80s,
Wow.
which is pretty darn close to normal.
Right,
And
right.
then the other two were in the normal range.
That's just, I mean, it's like a miracle. I
It
mean,
is. It
yeah.
is. I know. I just, everybody is kind of shocked because I think even in Dr. Lowey's studies with most people just, if they responded to it, their tumor markers dropped by 50%. They
Hmm.
didn't get anywhere near as much as I did. I mean, mine was dropping by 50% every 3 or 4 months for a little while.
I've got another friend, Amy, who is also about the same length of time as you on Ibrance, and she's having amazing results as well. It'll be about a year for her as well.
Wow.
I love hearing.
Now, she doesn't have appendix cancer, or she does? She
Yes,
does.
she does.
Oh,
In fact, I think I want to say she said there's maybe 10 people now in Lowry's under his um, care that are taking it that have appendix cancer. So I'm going to do this with her too. So it'll be
oh, good.
interesting to compare y'all's experience.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, doc.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say how great Dr. Lowy is because if I have any questions, he just responds right away.
Immediately. I love that. He is so wonderful. I agree.
With everything that he's doing, he takes this time to answer my questions.
Even
It's
if I have a
just,
question about a vlog I'm doing and I'm not sure if I'm stating something correctly, he answers so fast. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Lowry, if you ever watch.
yeah, if he's watching, yeah.
Yes, right. I'm sure he's watching. Yes. He watches all the Ibrance stuff. Maybe I'll tag him in it. um, were there, I guess, questions about the medicine itself, like how often do you take it? What's the dose? Are there side effects? That kind of stuff.
You take it 21 days on
Hmm.
and then you get 7 days off. And for the most part, I wouldn't say that I have any side effects other than at the tail end of the cycle on day, 19. And then for about 4 days after that, I can get really tired. Like my energy level, I can normally we go out for a couple of walks every day, and I can really feel a drop in my ability to walk
Hmm.
during those days. So that's the main side effect. There are other side effects I know that they list insomnia, and I do have problems with insomnia, but I had it before I started Ibrance. So it's hard to know if it's a side effect from the Ibrance or if it's just my normal
Just
cycle,
right,
sleep cycle's messed up.
right.
See, was there anything else? Don't I don't think I have any other
Is
side
there
effect.
any limit as to how long you can take this drug?
I don't think so. I haven't heard that there is. Um, I I've looked on the breast cancer Ibrance page, and some people have been on it for 10 years.
Okay, yeah,
So
and that's a long time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I guess what would you tell people who want to go on Ibrance or one of the other versions? What would you say? Like, how would you tell them to go about it since it was so easy for you?
Yeah, because it was so easy for me, it's a little,
I know you had a
stunning.
backup plan, Connie. So if she didn't give it to you, what would have you done?
Oh yes, I would have gone. I was all prepared to go down to Dr. Lowy in San Diego. I was all ready to do that. So when she called, I was really excited and kind of stunned. But yeah, I was planning on going down there. I have um, another one of our friends from the PMP group had to go down there to get prescribed it. And then it took her several months to get okayed. So
Red tape. I hate red tape. I hate it so much.
I know. Well, I heard it was due up to be off its, what is it called?
Oh, it's yeah, the patent
The patent.
is
Thank you.
expiring, so they really have that's another issue. And I actually have been talking with Dr. Lowy about that, and we've been working on you know the Appendicure registry. Like we want to know about people that have these mutations that could be candidates for CDK4 inhibitors. I mean,
Inhibitors.
we just need to prove it. I mean, the data's there. We just need to get it all, and so we're working on it. And he is amazing, and yeah. So the message here is even though Connie got really lucky in some regards, in regards to this one medicine, I won't call you lucky
I feel
overall,
lucky.
but
I
yeah,
do.
yes. But I will say that like don't take no for an answer, and if your provider won't listen to you, find someone else. And then also back to your symptoms too. Like talk to your doctor, tell them how you're feeling. Don't be like my husband, oh, I feel great. Which I think he does feel great. But I just know he never really tells people how he's feeling. Maybe it's because he's a man. But I guess I have to edit all this out too. But
Yeah. Well, it'll be good practice.
anyway, what else is there? What have I not asked that I should be asking?
Oh, we should talk about the new KRAS inhibitor coming up that Dr. Shen talked about.
Yes, yes, that's very exciting. It's the pancreatic drug. Yeah,
Yeah.
the tentrafafal, something like that.
That's better than I couldn't remember. I just remember it as the KRAS inhibitor. And
Yeah,
they talk about it being an on-off switch, which I like. Let's do that on-off
I
thing.
love that. I love that. That is it's a really unique way to go about it, and it's also can work in high grade, which is it's G12D is oftentimes David of course has no mutations that they can target.
Right.
His are all wild. They're called wild if there's not one that you can target. But a lot of people with goblet do have G12D, and CRAS is the biggest mutation in appendiceal cancer anyway.
Right.
So I had a meeting, I'll tell you this, with Astellas, which is a pharma company. I cold called this lady.
Go,
And
Amanda.
and she was so wonderful. She was like, "Your timing could not be more perfect." So she's setting up a meeting with the medical team to talk about specifically CRAS and all things CRAS. And so I'm so excited about that because so many of the population, you know, has
Could
this. Yeah, could
benefit from
benefit
this.
hugely. And the more people that benefit, I swear, the closer they're going to get to finding something for the wild ones out there. So
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
know it's like,
Well,
so,
I signed up for the study because they're doing I think it's called the Veristem 7374 here at Virginia Mason in Seattle. And so I'm on the waiting list for that, which is a KRAS inhibitor for my mutation.
oh, will you send me that link? I've not heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send that.
I
We
will.
share that with people for sure.
Yeah, for anybody, the
And
waiting
maybe I can
list.
reach out to the people like the principal investigator or whomever and see if they might talk to the community as well.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I
Mhm.
think that they're in their third stage.
That's great. Well, that
Yeah.
means it's that much closer to hopefully being approved and out to the public.
And
So,
I think it's one of the most promising ones. They just wrote blurb about it.
Surely I
Yeah.
know about this. Sometimes I have to look at all of this stuff because it's so much and it's so confusing and all the subtypes. Like when I was just thinking about goblet, it was much easier, but now that I have all the subtypes and I'm I know way more about appendix cancer than I ever wanted to know, Connie. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yes, I don't know as much as you do. I know about low grade and high grade, but I don't know anything about it, appendiceal. I mean, I don't know anything about goblet cell. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can just be like me and think of a goblet cell as like a little green guy with long hair and fangs and pointy ears, like some kind of cartoon. I don't. Anyway, well, I appreciate you so much. This was fun.
This was fun. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I enjoyed it, and I will clean this video, I promise, and it'll be nice. But I'm gonna leave in some of the fun stuff too, because
Oh yeah, do.
I think
Yeah.
people, I
I
mean,
probably won't watch it. 'Cause
I definitely won't watch it. Are you kidding me? I don't watch any of them. I cannot. I
oh.
can't even listen to my voice.
Me too. I'm like, oh, I got that weird high pitch thing going on.
I feel like
Pause.
I sound like an old smoker.
You don't. It's so funny. I guess we just get